Welcome in. New Sarah Fraser show, and boy, do we have a ton to cover. Thank you all for the comments on my YouTube page. By the way, it's at the Sarah Fraser Show. All of you, well, for the most part, there were a few people that didn't, agreed with me that Oliver Hudson's Sibling Revelry, his podcast that he has with his famous sister, Kate Hudson, was garbage, interviewing Janelle and Christine, the worst podcast interview they have ever done. I stand by my comments, okay? You talked about that and you did tell me, guy, you said, Sarah, you did miss one major part of that interview that we need to talk about today. So I'm going to talk about that. Lydia Plath from Welcome to Plathville got married over the weekend. Okay, that was quick. I think she was engaged like last November. This is beginning to feel like a Christine Brown wedding and relationship. We'll talk about the wedding pictures. On top of that is singer Neo trying to replace the sister wives for real. He has now taken on his fourth wife. We'll discuss. And of course, we have Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively updates. The Hollywood Reporter wrote an article over the weekend, and then they also did a like pretty compelling kind of sketch illustration of Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. And of course, you called that sexist. So in that article, though, it really talks about the Baha'i faith, which Justin Baldoni is a member of, and essentially questions that Baha'i faith. Was that the reason that Baldoni kind of came off so strange to some of the women on the set of It Ends With Us? And then at the end of the article, they make an interesting argument about both Lively and Baldoni. We'll get into. Before we get into that, many of you have followed my podcast. You follow my personal life. I've been quite stressed over the past couple of weeks, losing my favorite gauncle, being the executor of his will, and it's been a whole mess of a situation. Like, please, for the love of God, get life insurance. Leave your loved ones money, like when you die. Please, 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 please. And I know it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse because it's endorsements over and over that you've already heard on my show, but I have two companies, a life insurance company and acorns.com. Please use those. Acorns.com/TSFS. You can actually start saving like $2 a day, and then meetfabric.com/TSFS for life insurance. My Uncle George was amazing, but he did not plan, and it makes it so difficult. And you have to come out of pocket for this stuff, and you don't get reimbursed until their estate does. So I've been very stressed about that. And then on top of that, Schman and I were in escrow, which essentially for my East Coasters, because we don't have this on the East Coast, means that we were under contract on a home only last week to find out that we were denied our loan. Has anyone ever heard of this? I didn't even think that a loan officer with a bank, we went through a credit union, would even allow you to get into escrow if you were not loan approved. We got this, letter, our loan officer. Have you guys ever heard of this? That many of you own homes. Our loan officer spoke with the seller's agent, spoke with our agent, acceptance, the offer letter, the whole thing. We've been dealing with her for months. Goes to underwriting, says, they're probably going to have questions. They're going to want additional paperwork. How are you guys feeling about the monthly payment? All this stuff. And then we just get a letter from her. She doesn't even call our asses and says, sorry, you're denied. Your income to debt ratio, too high, denied. What? You guys, we had to fall out of escrow on this house. What a waste of time for every fucking body. I don't even know how this is legal for them to allow you to get to the point, because escrow, which I didn't even know what escrow meant until I came to California, essentially means like a 3% early down payment. Okay. So you're in escrow, 3% goes to this like bank, this in-between bank. They hold it there. And then, when you do your down payment, boom, it comes out, it's part of that. Right. So I cannot even believe they can illegally allow you to go to escrow and allow you to make an offer on a home if they don't intend on giving you that money. You guys, when I tell you the past 2 weeks have been so stressful, we had to do so much for this house. Now, look, I will always say this. I believe this wholeheartedly, always. God's rejection is always, always your protection. This house that we were looking at here in LA that we got into escrow with, at first I was like, I love it. It was a flip and everything had been updated. It was beautiful, modern. I'm like, okay, I can have my new podcast studio here. I can have people over. Like, it's great, right? But once we got the inspection, from like the moment we got into escrow, it was just one nightmare after another. First of all, there were all these like super short contingencies that the seller wanted, 21-day close, which is insane. Most people, it's like 30 days, or it even takes sometimes a little longer. Only 5 days of inspection. So we had to get the sewer guy out there. We had to get the inspector. The moment the inspector came, it was one thing after another. The furnace wasn't hooked up the day that the inspector came. It was red taped. So he's like, you guys, not you, but you're going to have to ask the seller to pay me to come back out to inspect the furnace. There were shingles still on the roof. The roof was not finished. There was a leak in the house because there were no gutters. This is like a brand new flip. So the floor was wet, testing wet. They're like, yeah, like you don't want this. There's now water seeping in. You don't know how long this has been here. You got to have a mold test. It was like one thing after another. So I had just lied in bed over the past couple of weeks and I said to God, if we're meant to have this house, let it unfold easily. And then within 2 days, God completely denied us of a loan. So I guess God really didn't want us to have that house. I think that was real clear. I appreciate a very clear sign from the Lord, and that one couldn't have gotten any clearer. In fact, it was so clear that God obviously told our loan officer, don't bother to call him, just send it in an email, which is exactly what she did. She sent us an email. This is like when you date somebody for a year and they break up with you via text. This bitch, we've been talking to her for like 3 months. She was our best friend. And then she dropped us with an email. So sorry. I'm not going to be able to help you purchase your first home. I was really looking forward to it. But turns out it's not going to work out. And underwriting denied you completely. Well, actually, they said, oh, you know what? You might qualify for half of what we were going to give you. um, hey, bitch, you didn't look at the, income to debt ratio prior? You guys, I don't know. If anyone is a first-time home buyer in the state of California, specifically in Los Angeles, because probably short of New York City, we live in the most expensive place on earth. How did you become a homeowner? Did your parents co-sign for your house? Did they give you the down payment? What happened? Because, of course, I own my own business. So now, thankfully, I've owned my own business for, 9 years. So there's a lot of history there, which they like. Shmano has a W-2, but also a 1099. And we didn't realize this until we got going, that with a 1099 gig, your income doesn't even count. They don't even look at your income. It's like it's non-existent until you've worked at that same spot as a 1099 employee for 2 years. I cannot believe it. And by the way, like now, that seller's agent, anytime, we got to go back to the drawing board. We got to file our 2024 taxes. It's fine because I'm going to my uncle's funeral next week. I need to hit pause on my life. A lot of you are asking baby updates. I'll have updates on that soon. I mean, there's a lot going on. Okay. And even, we have to make a decision about becoming resource parents on hold or continuing that. And we've already made that decision. We're going to put that on hold because that requires a lot. Plus taking care of KJ, our own businesses, losing an uncle, being the executor of his will, just wild. So, totally it was worth, thank you, God, for just taking this thing off of our plates for right now, right? But yeah, what an adventure. So if you bought a house in Los Angeles, how'd you do it? If you bought a house in New York City, how'd you do it? How'd you do it? Like crazy. And what do you do when you actually have high income and they're still like, how do people with regular income do it? Anyway, there's my rant. Okay. Let's move on because I know you guys all love Sister Wives news, but that's what's been happening in my personal life. I want to thank you guys for being the brilliant individuals that you are and on the same page as me when it comes to that Oliver Hudson sibling revelry crap interview. Okay. So many of you reached out on my YouTube. Already we're at about 10,000 views, and people were like, yeah, that Oliver Hudson podcast is a perfect example as to why celebrities should never interview people, period. They are too narcissistic to actually do any research, which is boring. If I'm listening to a podcast, I want to learn something. That is from Monica. Kathleen wrote, I caught about 1 minute of Oliver's interview. Every question they answered, his response was, I had to change it. I couldn't take it. Someone else says, KY Lauren says that Mary definitely is the woman on the show that's had the biggest glow up since she dumped Kody or Kody dumped her. Everyone else says, I agree with you. That interview was dry toast, the worst of all time with Oliver Hudson. One person, though, did say, I enjoyed the interview that they did with Oliver. I feel like he came up with questions that most wouldn't ask. And Christine and Janelle gave interesting answers that I hadn't heard. Like what? How many kids do you have? Like that was literally his question. He did zero research. The people did say to me, though, Sarah, you forgot one big part of the interview on Oliver Hudson. This is according to Lori, and she says that you failed to mention that Janelle says that she doesn't think that she's ever even going to date again. Can we discuss this? Why do we feel that Janelle is so sworn off dating? She did say that on Oliver Hudson's pod. She said that she is completely done. She's not looking for anyone. Christine seemed to even back off a bit. Because, Christine's been all up in her business in past interviews, like, I'm going to find you a man. We're going to get you on dating apps. Christine didn't have much to say. Christine was like, if it happens, it happens. I think you should date. You should be looking for it. But so why do we think Janelle is so sworn off marriage? She has been married twice because, she was originally married to Mary's brother back in the day. And then Kody, although they were never legally married, but she was with him for years. I don't know. I mean, maybe I think Janelle's been through so much over the past year, moving across country with Maddie, now launching this business. I could see Janelle. Yeah, Janelle. She's been through so much. I could see Janelle just not being with a guy. I do. I really feel like Kody was the love of her life for a very long time. I think if Kody had treated her like minutely better, she'd still be there. I think she also loves polygamy. I'm not sure if Janelle could even function in a non-polygamist marriage, to be quite frank. I just, I don't think, I actually don't think she could. I don't see her as a monogamous gal. I think she really misses polygamy, loves what it's about. And she says in that Oliver Hudson interview that she still practices everything the LDS church uh, teaches. She just doesn't go to church often. I don't see Janelle dating. I really don't. I think the love of her life was Kody. I think she loved her family, her kids. I think losing Garrison, we're coming up, by the way, next week on the 1 year anniversary since his passing. I mean, that was just like heartbreaking for all of us that have followed this show for so long. So I I think she's over it. I think she's over men. She ain't looking for the love that Christine needs, the makeout, the hot, like, undressing David with her eyes every 10 seconds. She don't need that. She happy with Takeoff Arms. She wants to print some shady ass t-shirts and grow some dandelions. So there you go. Okay, is Neo getting ready to take down the Sister Wives and pitch his own Sister Wives style show? Neo has now added a fourth wife. Over the weekend, people were joking that the hitmaker, who is now 45 and is now dating his backup dancer, Brianna Williams, he is already in a polygamous relationship with 3 other women. The R&B singer, of course, added a fourth wife, he says, to his growing list of girlfriends. And he came out as polyamorous after going public with the 3 lovers, who he calls his wives, despite not being legally married to him. Well, we know this playbook. Hello, Sister Wives, 15 seasons. This guy's like Neo I have met in real life. Genius, hot, short. Those are the words that come to mind. And I think he's going for the black version of Sister Wives, which is genius. The accomplished choreographer has already made a name for himself in the dance world by appearing in various TV shows and working with the likes of Sierra and Iggy Azalea. Could he be pitching now a sister-wives rivalry, and would you watch? Brianna joins Neo's existing girlfriends, OnlyFans model Bella and Phoenix Feather, and party girl Ariel Hill. While Brianna has proudly splashed Neo all over her Instagram page, she has yet to be publicly embraced by the other lovers. Oh, this could be juicy drama. I would like to see this. I would like to see this. Neo, I am here for it. I will be a producer on this. I think this could be so great. He loves having multiple wives. Well, look, it didn't work out for Kody and any of his wives, but let's see y'all try. Could Neo be replacing the family? Would you guys watch that show? Love it. Let's discuss before we get into Justin Baldoni, the latest article from Hollywood Reporter, which was, I thought, quite interesting, although a lot of people are not as into it as I am. Lydia Plath from Welcome to Plathville. Now, I've loved following this show. Got married over the weekend, and the pictures are stunning, but we need to discuss the entire Plath family and what they look like. The Wise family established 2/22/25. If you're on my YouTube right now, you can see the pictures. Beautiful. This looks like they got married in Georgia. I mean, it almost looks like they got married at the Plath farm, gonna be honest. But I don't think she tags a, she doesn't tag like a location. Now, let's get to this. First of all, I don't even know what to say, but the family has posted a picture all together. Okay. Take a look at this. Kim is there. Barry's there. Mike is there. Ethan is there. Micah and Isaac Plath, look at their hair. They've grown their hair out super long. Okay. Do we like Micah Plath with long hair? I don't think I like it. I actually don't like it. I don't. He looks like he's letting himself go. He looks disheveled. He looks like he'd been drinking all day and then joined the photo. Still super fine, not gonna lie. Mariah Jasper, dark hair, super dark hair. Ethan's there. Ethan looks so-so, not like much has changed. Kim Plath. Kim Plath is one of those that's actually very attractive, very beautiful, gorgeous makeup. That's where the kids get it. They really do. She's a good-looking woman. Okay. I mean, Barry's Barry. Let's see. Barry's got a goatee. Barry looks hot. Oh my God. Are you all seeing Barry? Wow. Okay. Excuse me? OMG. Isaac Plath, I always have this discussion. Is he 18? Is he not? Let's pretend he's not. We won't talk about him. Just incredibly beautiful. So Zach Weiss is his name. Very proudly engaged to Lydia Plath. They got engaged just in November 21st of 2024. I told you this was super quick. God bless him. Is he going to be on the show? They're currently filming season 7. People go, how do you know that, Sarah? Because Isaac Plath posted on his story, on his IG stories, and then he got in trouble that they're filming season 7. So I know it for a fact. We're getting another season. Will we get a season 8 after that? Not sure. Not sure on that one. But unbelievable. McKelty just posted a picture. She is on a cruise, I believe, with David and Christine. Janelle looks like she's there as well. Janelle also posted on her IG. They were very busy this past weekend on all their social medias. Janelle was also posting that Plexus gave away to several women who are high Plexus salespeople $2,000 in a shopping spree in Miami for Bloomingdale's. I would take that. I love a Bloomingdale's. So Lydia Plath reposting a lot of images. So anyhow, beautiful wedding. It looked gorgeous. Here's some of the, if you're on my YouTube, you can see it, like some of the videos. She looks very happy. Look at that. What a sleeper. Who knew the girl with the prayer closet would be the one that like found the most love? People magazine picking up this story. Okay. I like it. I like it. Before we get into Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Justin Baldoni, all the latest, just a reminder, I have a podcast course. This is your year. Podcasting, as a friend of mine in the business says, is only in the third inning. Baby, we got six more innings and we're probably going to extra innings with this, okay? If you think about the longevity of radio and television, 80 years. And people are not watching TV and they're definitely not listening to radio. So if your voice needs to be heard, you have a story to tell with your girlfriends, maybe with your significant other, a true crime story that needs to be solved, you need the roadmap. You need to know how to do it. GoBigPodcasting.com. Through the entire month of February, I am extending my code TikTok20 to give you 20% off. My podcasting 101 is literally $9 and a lot less with that 20% off code. Podcasting for Pros is in the low 200s, and six-figure master plan, which is literally how I made it a full-time business, baby. I make terrific money, except for if I'm trying to get a loan for a house. TikTok 20% off that $900 course, and that will show you exactly how you could be making six figures a year or more launching your podcast. It's possible, but you do not want to launch a podcast and be a year in, 2 years in, and not making any money. The amount of people I see, the amount of podcasters I see do it, it is so much time and effort to not start monetizing from the jump, which is now possible when you purchase my course. Everybody that is purchasing the course and my one-on-one consulting, which you can email thesarahfrasershow@gmail.com, is loving it. So if you're going to do it, learn how to make money. Don't wait. GoBigPodcasting.com. Hollywood Reporter did an article. What role did the controversial director's Baha'i religion play on the set of It Ends With Us? And did Wayfair's missionary help set the stage for Hollywood's uncivil war? So this Hollywood Reporter article, there's some controversy, okay? It was written by Peter Kiefer, February 21st. And what is getting a lot of controversy, my friend Zach Peter, who's been on this podcast, who's done an excellent job covering this story, is one of the first people that noticed that within this article, Peter has changed the language back, forth, and back about Jenny Slate. Jenny Slate is an actress in It Ends With Us. And Jenny Slate has reportedly filed an official complaint, a harassment complaint about Jamie Heath, who is the director he runs Wayfair Productions. He's the head of Wayfair. He was overseeing this movie as a producer. Jenny Slate apparently filed a sexual harassment claim or a harassment claim, let me say that, because she was very unhappy with the apartment that they rented for her in New York. She had a toddler. But she went to Heath and she said, I'm not happy with this apartment, but I can't leave because I'm going to lose my $15,000 deposit. And he said, don't worry about it. Wayfarer will pay for it. You get the apartment that you want. But apparently he was so fixated on her being a mother and raising her child, whatever he said, and we don't know what he said, we don't know the specifics, was so creepy, she filed a complaint of how uncomfortable she felt to Sony. Now, the controversy comes because in this article, Peter has changed. At one point, he said that she filed an HR complaint to Sony. Then he changed it. Now, this is like web sleuths figuring this out. Then he changed the language to say that Sony was notified so there was never a formal complaint, that Sony was notified that Jenny Slate felt uncomfortable. Then he changed it back that there is a complaint. Why is this significant? Why does this matter? It matters because many of us that have been following this story are still waiting to find out what is going on with these Sony HR complaints. These HR complaints were sent out to certain influencers and looked like they were real, okay? But then a lot of people like Perez Hilton, other people who've been in the game a long time were like, these are fake, none exist. Brian Friedman, the genius attorney of Baldoni's, has gone on podcast, says he's never seen them, doesn't say they don't exist. He says he's never seen them. But these are very pivotal because if in fact they were actually filed, then we have some official on record. Sony knew that Justin Baldoni was allegedly making women feel uncomfortable. So now it appears whoever's feeding Peter this information, that there is a complaint, at least from Jenny Slate out there, about Jamie Heath. This article is great, definitely worth reading, has a different angle because it talks about Justin Baldoni's Baha'i faith. I'd never heard of this. The Baha'i religion, no clue what it was. Well, it's an obscure Iranian religious community, and it was the shared faith, or the rumor went, that helped Justin Baldoni secure the rights to It Ends With Us. Jamie Heath is in the religion, Steve Sarowitz, who's of course the billionaire that is funding Wayfarer. They're all members of this Baha'i faith, okay? And it's a very open religion. A lot about feelings, a lot about connection, spiritual connection, how you feel. And apparently in meetings, Baldoni would even have people go around the room and they were asked to reveal something about themselves, either very secretive, they'd never revealed before, very deep, okay? When you work in a corporate job, there's always team building. But can we get back to maybe when companies didn't care about you? You know what I mean? Like, would that be so bad? Because, honest to God, the way, now we've gone overboard. So they talk about how Baldoni would have these meetings with teams, with production, where he was very spiritual, and he would ask people to share secretive information. And the idea is that it would foster, vulnerability in the workplace. But a lot of people were very turned off by it. Okay. And now somebody very close to Justin and that was on the set of It Ends With Us in this article says, quote, "The Justin that I know isn't capable of doing the things that he's accused of doing because he truly sees himself as this feminist. But Blake clearly got grossed out," says a source who worked on It Ends With Us. "I honestly feel like it was a perfect storm of two opposing personalities. When Baldoni and Wayfair executives hold meetings, they often start by asking participants to go around the room and share something private, something that brings them joy and has nothing to do with their jobs or their career. In certain professional circles, like say those of yoga instructors and doulas, this type of icebreaker might be welcome. But among time-crunched agents, entertainment lawyers, and studio executives, folks not exactly known for their touchy-feely ways, a gesture of this nature comes with major risks." In my head, I was like, I'm sorry, what are we at? Cafe fucking gratitude, says a female executive at a production company who sat down with Wayfarer executives last year, including Baldoni. Why are you imposing your culture on these meetings? And why are these being held in the office? So that kind of gives you a glimpse. The article is very, very fascinating, okay? But basically at the end of this article, Peter poses the idea of essentially this. What is it, is it really about that these two personalities, kind of like what that person said, they just clashed? And it was a valiant attempt by Justin Baldoni to have this open relationship and connect with Blake Lively, but instead of connecting with her, he just creeped her out. Could both of them be correct? Do we think could both be right? That is what he poses at the end of the article. So could it be that Justin Baldoni is a good guy, never sexually harassed her? However, in this Baha'i faith where, they believe in the openness and joy, and they run it more like a yoga center, this came off as creepy to Blake Lively. It came off as creepy. It came off as sexual. And part of the Baha'i faith is if you are very religious and in touch, lots of times you're spiritual and you're connecting to the afterlife, which of course we know Justin Baldoni told Blake Lively, I've spoken to your dead father, which a lot of people found to be really creepy, that he would even say that he's been in communication with her dad. So I thought that was fascinating because I do think, this is such a story that they're not jilted lovers. I don't think they really had much chemistry with one another once you begin to see some of the behind the scenes clips. And so it's like, yeah, is this two people who really read the room completely wrong? And in that case, who's right? Who wins? Because she took his actions as creepy, but he really isn't. He's really kind of a feminist, according to a lot of people, and a good person. Anyhow, the plot thickens as we get closer and closer to a trial, which, by the way, is a year away, over a year away. Okay, March 2026. Unless this is moved up, and I still believe will be settled. That's my 2 cents. Okay, full slate of shows this week. David Yontif is here from Behind the Velvet Rope. As always, we'll have Bravo T. There is a rumor that Karen Huger is going to be fired from RHOP. And then tomorrow on the show, Josh and Brandon from 90 Day Fiancé Last Resort. Of course, Josh is with Natalie. Brandon is with Julie. And they're on, and ooh, did they come for Jasmine and Matt, and they defend Gino. This is a juicy, hot, no holds bar interview. It is so good. If you love 90 Day Fiancé and you love the Last Resort franchise, this interview is for you. It's a juicy TLC one. Okay, bye everybody.